Yo, what's up guys, the Insane Game Freak here to bring you a Pokemon Origins full review. This is a review of the all 4 OVA episodes. And it's also a review of the dub because I did, in fact, watch the dub. And for those who are curious about where I watched the dub, that Pokemon has this app called Pokemon TV, which essentially you just download on your phone if you have an Android, and I think it's on the Apple products too. And they just pretty much gave you the episode. Pokemon TV is free in itself, and I've mentioned it before. And they were just like, hey, let's just release all the OVA episodes. So I watched it there, which they released it later, which is why this review is later. Also because I'm a lazy bastard, that's the other part. So I guess the first thing we'll talk about is the dub. I'm not totally showing every voice actor, but I'll just go through the ones I think I know. Johnny Young Bosch is playing Brock. Bryce Papenbrook, I believe, is playing Red. I don't know Blue's voice actor's name, but I recognize him. If you're watching the Magidub, he's the one who plays Jafar. Or if you've watched Excel World dub, he's the one who plays Taku. That's where I recognize his voice from. I guess the best way to describe it is there's a lot of Aniplex voice actors that you would hear. I mean, I know there's more like the union and non-union, but because I'm not that deep into the voice acting thing, I wouldn't know. But so I'm just gonna refer to them by the company I'm most used to hearing their voices from. So if you watch some Aniplex dubs, you'll probably be used to most of these voices. And guess what? It sounds great. I don't feel like I'm watching a show that's pandering towards children. Because for those who don't realize, the Pokemon anime doesn't have to pander towards kids. It's the fact that the company that dubs it wants it to pander towards kids. It's not like kids are stupid, but whatever, you know what? It's not like I'm a Pokemon anime fan or anything. It's not like I don't buy the freaking DVDs. All the DVDs, I guess. So, moving aside from the dub, we have the story of Pokemon Origins, which is pretty much Pokemon Red's story, throwing in some Mega Evolution BS at the end. Now, overall I will say Origins isn't bad by any means. I think Origins is a pretty good. It's pretty faithful. Like, it's really faithful to the games from the scenes that it does use, because it's 4 OVA episodes and they're only like 20-something minutes each. Obviously, they're not going to cover every single moment, but all the moments they did cover, if you've played Pokemon Red or you're a huge Pokemon fan, at least in the game world, you recognize that. Like, for example, when you got, I think it's it's either the second or third, I think it's the second OVA episode, the Lavender Town stuff, where they even make a reference to, you know, if you talk to that certain person, it's like, oh, look at that white hand on your shoulder, and you're like, oh, crap, they said that in the games, it's awesome. There are some slight differences, like, for example, the whole Mr. Fuji thing and the Team Rocket thing they kind of changed up a little bit, not too much, like, you still get it. The same thing you could probably say for the Silph Co stuff, like, they introduced this female character who's a part of the Silph Co building who tried to get out, and Blue and Red ran across them, and it's like, that's not canon, but it's not bad either. The only thing that kind of sucks, and I actually did like the approach they came at this with Red. Instead of having Red be this kid who's all hyped about Pokemon, pretty much instead of making Red Ash, they made Red overly obsessed with just doing what he was told to do, which is completing the Pokédex. It's like, that's the goal of this OVA. It's just like, complete that Pokédex, complete it. Red in the beginning is more worried about catching Pokemon in general instead of actually bonding with his Pokemon. Pretty much the lessons that you hear all the time in the anime is the lesson that Red has to learn throughout the OVA. Which the first episode of the OVA does pretty well, and then it just kind of drops off. And I understand why, you know, you can't cover all that development in the course of 4 OVA episodes, but it never really reappears. It kind of just, it starts in OVA 1, and then you just don't hear about it again, except for maybe the last OVA. You see tidbits of it. It's kind of disappointing in that sense, because you're just kind of like, Jesus Christ. It's like, you had all this build-up about connecting and building bonds with your Pokemon, and I was just like, and then it just kind of falls off, and you're like, well, that was depressing. Getting into the battles, I thought those were really well done. It's not like the style is that. I guess it's more of that real time kind of battling instead of what Pokemon used to do. Well, up until X and Y anyway, which was that whole freeze frame show the animation, and then they would reuse that animation every time that Pokemon would do that specific attack again. And all you would see is that you see the animation of them doing the attack, and then see the Pokemon's reaction, and they would do that. This feels more like real time. It feels like you're watching the battles go at it, just like you're seeing every single punch. X and Y's anime battles are doing that too. So if you've watched X and Y anime battles, Origins does virtually the same thing, and I like it, especially the first battle with Brock with the whole. And I like how they're using certain moves the way you would think they're using certain moves. Like for example, the reason why Brock even loses in the first OVA is because his Onix attacked second, and it wasn't because, you know, the Charmander was just naturally faster. It's the fact that the screenshot that he used from, I don't even remember the Pokemon, it was like a Weedle, I guess, and the screenshot slowed Onix down just enough for Charmander to go first. I like that kind of stuff. I also like the fact that the battles are actually doing the whole, the challenger can use as many Pokemon as he wants, like the games. Like in the anime, they always do the 2-on-2 or 3-on-3. But we all know playing the games that we got to choose however many we had, and the gym leader was just stuck with his. They actually have Red cycle through his Pokemon. The only thing I hate is because they do it this way, half his Pokemon just kind of get wrecked. Also, the battles are somewhat short because of that too, because you just have like, mostly it only takes like 1 or 2 hits to knock out a Pokemon, and Red's already switching him out. And it's not like his Pokemon have any character development because the OVAs are, they're OVAs, it's only 4 episodes, they're just speeding through this stuff. So we don't necessarily get that same level of development that you would get in the anime for the, you know, the normal Pokemon anime. It's not like, oh, Charizard has a such and such personality, he likes this, he acts this way. We don't get that because it's only 4 episodes. In terms of the characters, we only have 2. Which would be Red and Blue. I mean, you could say Giovanni, you could say the girl that he was talking to around the whole Mount Fuji situation. They also, by the way, another continuity error, they switched the whole order of the Lavender Town Mount Fuji stuff. What do I mean? The Silph Scope, we all know, you get after you do the whole thing in Saffron City. Then you go back to Lavender Town with the Silph Scope, and then you can identify the ghosts. Well, for the sake of canon, they just had the Lavender Town be a self-contained incident, meaning the Silph Scope one of the Team Rocket members had, and they just knocked it out. But as I said, that wasn't a big deal. I had no problem with them actually doing that. Anyways, getting into the characters, you have Red and Blue. I already mentioned Red. Blue is pretty much how he is in the games. He's just a fucking dick. An annoying dickwad. They also make him more of a dick than you would think he would be. Like the whole, how he doesn't seem to care about anything else except making his Pokemon strong. Even during that whole Giovanni situation, he was so uninterested. And I was like, yo, I understand he's not technically there in the game world, but you can't just make him a complete dick in this situation. What child just abandons a grown woman like that in trouble? Like, it seemed out of character for a 10-year-old. I guess for his personality, it works. Also, Blue's annoying as shit because of it, too. Just like he is in the games with the whole, I'm gonna be better than you, I'm gonna beat you, Red, and all this other stupid shit. And by the way, in terms of continuity, they even stuck to it with the whole champion thing. Like, we see Red go through the, well, we don't see it, we see like flashes of him going through the floor, and then he has to fight Blue, and he literally beats Blue as soon as he's become champion for like a few minutes. I will say one thing though. Some of my favorite thing about this OVA series, the music was great. The music was so good, dude. You don't even know. They played all the classic tracks. The only thing that sucks is most of the battles are so short, you don't get to hear the full track. Like, for example, when you get the Blues fight at the end of the OVA, you're just sitting there going, why is this so short? Because they even skipped through a lot of the fights. And I guess the only other thing story-wise that kind of annoyed me was the whole Giovanni fight. Oh, God. The Giovanni fight in itself isn't bad. And I see what they were trying to do, but this is one of those instances where you look at it and you go, yeah, this would have benefited being an actual series. And that's what Origins kind of proved, is that you could do the original Pokemon series in a different way and it'd still be interesting. Now, granted, we don't know how interesting it would be, whether they would just do it straight, where there's really no filler in there. If they keep the tone they have with Origins, and just space it out to cover every battle and every gym fight and the Team Rocket stuff and all that other stuff, this could be a pretty good series. I could see this doing pretty well. The other thing I will say I don't like about Origins is the freaking art style. All these characters look so plain. It's like I understand you don't want to use the anime or the Pokemon Adventures manga looks. These characters don't look, a lot of them look stock as shit. Really, the only thing that makes them pop out is red in certain scenes and maybe the outfits they're wearing. Also, if you're looking for anything about the gym leaders, there's nothing there. That's the other disappointment. We'll get the thing about Brock and then everyone else is irrelevant. Which, I would like to see them fleshed out more closer to their game counterparts. Honestly, to me, when it came to the Pokemon anime, they have Origins and they could have easily just adapted the Pokemon manga. They could have just did an anime version of the Pokemon Adventures manga. But, as far as Origins go, for being a 4-episode OVA, it's enjoyable. You'll have fun watching it. And you'll like the voice acting because it won't be on that I need to make a pun every 6 fucking seconds logic. I don't know if this is being released on DVD. If it is, I would say pick it up. It's enjoyable enough, and you'll have fun with it. I guess the only thing you'll probably hate about it is if you're like me, you'll notice the Giovanni stuff being kind of stupid. You'll be sad that the battles are so short, and the character designs are really fucking plain. Those are like my 3 biggest criticisms. But I like the battling style. I like the whole real-time fighting. I like the different approach of a main character, Red. And I like seeing an anime adaptation, like for the most part, a really good, closely adapted from the game to anime translation. Instead of what we get with the Pokemon anime, which isn't bad, but, you know, we always wanted something more. Whether this is more mature or not really. There's nothing too different about it. If they explored the Team Rocket aspect a little more, maybe. But if to me, and I'll say this once I've said this again, if I ever wanted a full adaptation of one of the Pokemon series, one of the Pokemon games, it wouldn't be Gen 1, it'd be Gen 5. Gen 5 is the definitive story to directly adapt in terms of the games. Hands down. That includes Gen 6. But that's just me. But that's overall what I thought about Pokemon Origins. Please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Tell me if you liked it. Also, when the pre-orders or whenever it comes up for the DVD or Blu-ray release of Origins, and because you know they're going to release it in America. When it comes to Pokemon, they release almost everything in America. So I'd be surprised if they didn't. And also leave the link for Pokemon TV as an Android or iPhone app links in the description for those who want to download it and check it out. Anyways, this has been the Insane Game Freak. Play the game, play to win, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace. Oh. Yeah, baby. Yeah. Got to the later episodes. The subs got really wonky and shit, so I ended up having these random gaps, which you could